Here's passing Bayou, who we call Coco in the barn. And Coco is doing so well. I am just over the moon with how this mare is progressing and how she's settled into the routine here and all the expectations. And she's just going beautifully. And today she had her first jump school. I'm actually not sure. I think I would bet money that she's done a bunch of ground poles and things like that with her previous owner, but I don't think any formal jumping. So to me, I just treated this like a horse's first introduction to jumping ever. She made it extremely easy. If only they were all always this easy. She has such a great mind about it, was super happy to do the job. Really cute form. Her canter is fantastic. So to me, that always means that they're going to jump pretty well. I know, of course, we need to see the brain. Just because they can jump well doesn't mean that they always want to do the job. But she was just so easy. I mean, it was ridiculous. I basically just sat there and she did all the things. So I always start by walking them over as much as I possibly can. Walking them over stuff, it always tells me 99.9% of the time what I'm going to get when we start trotting and cantering things. If they're happy to calmly in a straight line walk over something, then they are almost always happy to do the same thing in the trot and the canter. So I always like to begin that way. And she was wonderful. I mean, needed almost no guidance from me. She took her time, she put her head down, she looked at things, she's careful with her feet. She was giving me all the right vibes when we started out walking over everything. Now, I do have to apologize to her because she was the first ride in the morning, and while it did get quite warm, the ring was still semi-frozen and she's barefoot, and on the long side that we're walking towards right now in the shade, it was still frozen, and I should have dragged it the night before, but I didn't, so it was bumpy frozen from being ridden in the day before, and she definitely felt a little bit stabby on her front feet on this section right here where it was frozen and bumpy and she's barefoot, so I apologize to her for that. She was a super trooper. On this section of the ring where it's full sun and was thawing out quickly, she felt fantastic. But anyway, she was wonderful about just sort of soldiering on and ignoring that. So once we walk over everything, my routine is just to trot over a whole bunch of boring ground poles. They're cavalettis right now, but it really doesn't matter. Right away, she made me thrilled when we started trotting over stuff because she just has the absolute correct natural instincts. She wants to use the trot pole as a canter transition, which is wonderful. And she always lands in a really balanced soft canter going away. It made me especially happy because her canter transitions have not been, she needs some work on her canter transitions. You know, she just doesn't understand softly stepping into the canter, that it's no big deal. But the poles actually did exactly got her to do perfect canter transitions. So using the little jumps and the cavalettis and the ground poles actually I think is going to be the key to her just sorting out how to do a really nice canter transition on the flat because she did exactly what I've been trying to get her to do, which is just one nice, easy, no drama step into the canter. There I was sort of thinking maybe I could get her to canter that pole, but we didn't quite make it, so there was a little bit of an awkward trot step over it. But the point is that she stayed straight and she did it. She figured out the footwork, even though the approach and the balance weren't very good. Oh, one other thing that I should mention. So the from the last ride video earlier in the week, I mentioned she had gotten some little bit rubs. So she didn't have a bit in her mouth the last 2 days. And then today when I looked at her before I rode her, they'd almost completely healed up, just a little bit of redness. So I just lubed her up with Vaseline. I think she was annoyed at me at how much Vaseline I stuffed in the corner of her mouth. And I put her in the Hermspringer Duo, and that definitely did the trick. This is the bit that she's by far felt the most comfortable in to me. I didn't feel any fussiness in her mouth at all today. She felt totally comfortable. And actually, I really loved her frame. She never ducked behind the vertical. I was able to have a conversation with her without her wanting to duck away from the contact. She was just right out to my hand. Nose out to the jumps, which is how I want them, and it felt fantastic. So I was really happy with that. Oh, so here we finally canter something, and we get it on like a nice perfect half stride. But again, that's going to happen. It's going to happen at every level. It's especially going to happen with babies that don't know anything. But she just stayed straight and she figured it out. And then that was so cute and perfect. What a good girl. I just love her expression for all of this. It's just no stress, no anxiety. It's like we're out for a walk in the park. She's just sort of strutting around, having a good time. Nothing about this feels difficult to her. Now, of course, she's learning to canter to things and all that, but it doesn't seem like we're doing anything that she finds unpleasant. I think she's enjoying this job and this experience. Certainly she would be telling me she wasn't by, trying to dodge left and right and making me work hard if she felt like this was something challenging or that she didn't want to do. But honestly, I mean, she was very point and shoot. And I just love how her ears are pricked and she just looks like she's having a good time. And her steering and her easy changes and bends and her natural instinct to land on the correct lead were all so good. Such a good girl. That was so cute. So at this point, she's feeling pretty bored with all the stuff that we're doing. Now she's realized that it's not really necessary to land in the canter because it's so small and not really piquing her interest anymore. So we're just going to do the raised flower boxes, and then we made a couple of cross rails to finish over. So cute and straight. And I just love the balanced, easy canter she comes away. And just, what the overarching word for her for this ride is just that she's so rideable. I mean, just takes so little help from me. She's so willing to do the job. She's super straight, great canter, super rideable horse. Wonderful instinct for landing on the correct lead. I love that. And then we went for gold here and she nailed it. Good girl. Okay, so then we paused for a second. I had Billy set up a couple of cross rails because I just thought, she just strutted around all that like it was no big deal. So surely a couple of cross rails are not going to be a big deal. And they were not. Look at that canter. She is so cute. Kind of thought we might canter that. Didn't quite work out, but that's okay. She was happy to do it anyway. So then here's our grand finale. We're going to do our diagonal line. At least I think that's where we're at. Oh, we might not be there yet. Nope, okay, we did it as a singleton first. Now we're going to do our grand finale. Super cute. I sort of thought if she wanted to keep cantering, she could, but she wanted to take her time and trot, so absolutely nothing wrong with that. She was straight as an arrow and jumped it really cute.